We are back. Really excited for this one. So, I mean, I'm not going to keep doing these ring videos, but I just wanted to do this one for the time being. Then I think I'll take a break and then move on to something else. But what I'm going to try this time is I have some Fire Opal. It's supposed to be Fire Opal. It's not as colourful as I would have hoped, but I'm sure I can make this work. So this is Ethiopian Fire Opal, not Australian or Mexican. But it comes, it's basically listed as hand picked on Amazon. And it does come with some clay, sandy kind of, that one just broke in my hands, but you can see. It does clean off really easy. I mean, I'd suggest probably a Dremel tool. But I cleaned one off with just the blade that I just used. You see some specks I need to get off there, but I now have to crush this to put it in a ring. So I've got a small piece of opal in this small metal dish, and I'm just going to use my hammer and then just push down. You can hear that crack, and that is shattering. Just be careful, make sure you've got eye protection on as well, because you don't want this shooting into your eye. So I'm then going to take out some of the larger chunks and just leave a smaller one in there, and just do the same. You can really hear that nice crunching sound, and that is breaking our opal. It's not really showing any colours at the moment, but I'm hoping it will once we start. So I'm going to continue doing that with the rest. And I'm just transferring the ones that I've already shattered into this separate cup. And just be really careful, because obviously this stuff is really sharp. And then once you've got it in your cup, just go through making sure there's no yucky bits in there. I can see one just here with a bit of dirt still stuck to it. So I'm just going to put that back into the smashing pot. And I think the rest is pretty clean. You can see some colours in it now, which is good. So let's start. So then you just need to pick your ring size. I have gone for a size 10. So I'm thinking with this one, hopefully I'm kind of making it up as I go along. So I'm using some of the Let's Resin clear hard type UV resin. Just pouring some into my mixing cup, and I'm hoping a black base will really make the colours pop. So I'm not putting in too much, he says, and he pours too much. So I've just turned on my cup turner, and I'm just going to apply it, same as the other videos, just a bit by bit. But I only want this black to be a very thin layer. So if you haven't checked out those videos, go and check them out, because they will answer a lot of questions. So I'm just going to continue to coat this base on the inside of the ring. And then I'm just giving it a very light torch, just to pop any bubbles. Don't go too mad, because it will thin the resin and it will start falling off the ring. So we'll see from that dip that we still have room to be able to apply the next layers. So I'm just going to give that a cure. I should think you could probably do this with 2-part, but you might need to follow the Abalone video with the glue. So now comes the part I haven't really thought about, as to how to get this onto there. Now I could have semi-cured this and sprinkled it on. So I think what I'm going to do is, if I mix some up with resin, I'm at risk of more bubbles. If I put a thin layer of resin on there, I could then sprinkle them on. Let's try it that way. So I actually want the spindle to be turning the other way. So if I turn the power off, it should when it's ready. Come on. Doesn't want to turn the other way. There we go. So I'm just going to hold my bottle, let any bubbles pop, and then just apply, let the machine do the work, pulling the resin onto the ring. I only want a really shallow amount because I will want to top coat this afterwards. And again, just with my dotting tool, I'm just going to spread that around and make sure the inside is completely covered with that resin. Again, just a light blast of our torch. And then with our cup, if we tilt it and tap it, the smaller parts will sink to the bottom, and then we can tip that to get the larger parts to fall down, and then we can access that smaller grain. And then I'm just going to sprinkle that evenly over. Make sure you're catching any bits that fall off. I'm just going to continue to do this, and I'll probably add bigger amounts as well. Don't do this in direct sunlight because your resin will cure as you are doing this. So just keep adding that crushed opal until it's covered. So now I'm just adding some of the bigger chunks. Some of them are going to stick out too much from the ring, but we can pick those out afterwards. So I'm just chucking on. I'm making a mess. Maybe mixing it with resin would have been the better option, but never done this before. It's all in the learning. So I'm just, as it's coming round, just pushing the bits in. Don't worry about the outsides, we can clean that up afterwards. Really not worried about that. Just making sure that they're stuck to that resin. Because they will keep falling off. So once you've covered most of it, it's just time to just clean off most of the edges, just to prevent the resin from adhering. Doesn't take long. I might go in with a second layer if I can in some areas. I think mixing it with the resin might have been the better option. So I've changed my cup so I don't want any of that resin to fall inside that fallen off stone. So I'm just repeating that. I'm just covering this now, being careful not to move those shards. The resin is trying to pick up the stones. So I'm now just going to use my tool again, just to make sure there's no bits sticking out or floating, and just making sure that is spread around, and just fill in the gaps as I go. Takes a bit of patience. Hopefully it's worth it. You don't know until you try. So what I'm doing now is just carefully, as it's turning, just adding larger bits into some of the dull areas. And then once you're happy, just from a safe distance, not too close, we're going to slow cure that as it's still moving. Okay, so I'm now repeating the whole process but with a white base. I'll show you afterwards. I'm not too keen on how the black one has turned out, so I'm going to do exactly the same thing as I just showed with the black but with a white. And this time I'm going to try adding the chips to the resin. And what you will find with the bigger lumps they really do move around. So I would suggest crushing them a bit smaller than what I have. I'm just gently applying bit by bit. You can't really see the colours at the moment, but you will afterwards, I hope. Do you know what? I'm really not sure now I've done the white one. It's just not as colourful, I don't think, as I would have hoped. I mean, you can see it. Let's see the white one. The white one you can barely see. It looks more like a normal opal. But only in the right light can you really see that opal effect. Anyway, I'm going to keep trying until I crack this. As always, give the video a thumbs up. Drop me a comment. And if you haven't subbed, hit that button for me. Let me know which one's your favourite. See you for the next one. Bye for now.